It's time for On Point with Julian Phillips.
Welcome to On Point. Boy, what the past 2 weeks have been. A roller coaster, up and down. Republicans putting up fights all over, at least 30 lawsuits in several states, of course, the swing states here, trying to overturn this election. Many say trying to attempt a coup. Even the president inviting some Republicans from Michigan to the White House, but they weren't persuaded. Rudy Giuliani and his band of foolish lawyers slapped down in Pennsylvania. Rudy, of course, on national TV with hair dye running down both cheeks, expounding on all sorts of conspiracy theories, laughable. Even prominent Republicans like Chris Christie says he's a national embarrassment. It has been. Well, the bottom line is right now that's behind us, even though Trump says he's going to still challenge, he's not going to concede, but we know what that's about. We've talked about this. What he's planning to do is just get as much money as he can for his own legal defense and just get like a little cash cow, bag of cash, to pay off his defenses. We know he owes a lot of money once he gets out and faces a multitude of lawsuits. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, we're going to move forward here right now. And we're going to talk about Joe Biden's cabinet pick so far. All eyes have been glued to the TV set, ears to radios and televisions to hear and see exactly who he's going to pick. And it seems like an all-star cast so far. Here to break all of this down, of course, is Eric Ham joining us from Washington, D.C., our beloved political analyst and best-selling author. Eric, welcome to this show, my brother.
Good to be with you, buddy.
So let's start with these picks here. Very interesting. We'll start with ladies first here. We've got Avril Haines. She would be the first woman director of national intelligence. Tell us about her.
Yeah, she will not be in a position where she will actually be making policy. Her job is more of an advisory role. But what we see with this pick, along with some of the other picks from Joe Biden, is sticking with his campaign mantra of making his cabinet look more like America. And so we see that with her, as well as some of the other picks that he's already made, and already, making history with her being the first woman to lead this agency, as well as some others who he's already picked. So clearly what we see is Joe Biden off to a really fast start in naming, of course, his national security team.
Yes, Linda Thomas Greenfield, a Black woman. She's going to be our U.S. ambassador to the UN, apparently coming with a lot of experience and down there from the Bayou. I love my women from the Bayou. So she's in there. So far it seems like there's not much opposition to these two particular picks.
No, there's not much opposition to many. In fact, all of the picks that he's made so far. Janet Yellen, who he will nominate to be his Treasury Secretary, is someone who will be, again, another woman the first to lead that agency in 100 years. And also going back to Linda Greenfield Thomas, he is also elevating that position as ambassador to the UN to a cabinet level position. That is a position where presidents have the choice of making that a cabinet level position or not. Biden and this administration has chosen to make that a cabinet level position. And I think that speaks to the breadth, the depth, and the level of substance, as you mentioned, that Greenfield Thomas brings to that role. But also, we cannot underscore that Joe Biden, in naming these picks, is certainly in his wheelhouse. This is a man who chaired the Senate Foreign Relations Committee for quite a long time, knows a lot of world leaders, and will take an active role in shaping foreign policy from the White House.
Right. We're going to go quickly through the whole list. We don't have to get a breakdown of everybody here because there's a lot to talk about. Of course, John Kerry. Everybody knows John Kerry. He's going to be the climate czar and also is going to have a seat on the National Security Council. Tony Blinken, a longtime aide of Biden, and he's going to be the Secretary of State. Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor. He's the youngest, I think, at 43 years old in that role, but apparently he comes with a lot of experience. And we're waiting still for a number of other key picks, the Justice Department, Labor, Transportation, Office of Management and Budget, and of course, Defense Secretary. Quickly, the people who are up for that? I know we talked about this the other day. There are some possibilities. Erica, explain.
Yeah, there are two names that have risen to the top. Jay Johnson, who held the secretary role of Homeland Security in the Obama administration, and Michelle Flournoy, who served as the number 3 Undersecretary of Defense for Policy in the Obama administration as well. Now, many believe that if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016, she was a shoo-in to be Hillary Clinton's Pentagon secretary. And we're told that she's in the running for this role, but there may be some trepidation that Joe Biden has at this point. So she's still very much in the running. And it seems like it's between her and Jay Johnson. We'll have to see. My sources are telling me that it will probably be her. She certainly has a wealth of experience, having been in the Pentagon, served at the highest level, as has Jay Johnson. But we're told that Jay Johnson may also be a candidate for the Attorney General role as well.
Yeah, because he's actually very, very skilled and very respected in most legal circles in this country. You know, the Indians are already starting to circle the wagons here. Of course, the media in the mix of this, and I think that they're egging people on. We've talked about that. They're good for that a lot of times, no matter what you think about them. We're both journalists. We're media people. You're an analyst. I am in somewhat of a sense. But we've got now some factions. We've got, of course, Republicans. They're looking at this. They're going to scrutinize this. Joe Biden says he wants to be inclusive of everybody. You've got the progressives, the Gang of Four, AOC and Toledo Sheeb and Imar Olan. You've got folks like that. I guess the question is, so far what we see, he has put together a rainbow coalition, as it were, people in his cabinet, even Alejandro Mayorkas, who's Department of Homeland Security. He is the son of Cuban immigrants. And the things that they all said, I mean, what a spread when he brought everybody out on the stage here. I thought this was a Hollywood production, and they all had, how, his parents or relatives, this was, who was it now? Tony Blinken. Blinken says that, they escaped a Holocaust camp, and there was a tank that came through with 5 stars on it or whatever, 5 points, and a black soldier comes out, and folks kneel down and say, God bless America. I mean, my God, I almost had tears in my eyes. I said, give me the Kleenex. But the bottom line is, there are people that are going to have issues. What do you think are the major challenges for Joe Biden when he fills out this cabinet? Because everybody's not going to be satisfied.
No, you're right. And let's just focus on just the policy perspective. Of course, there are those who are going to push back just for the sake of pushing back. In fact, we already heard from Senator Marco Rubio from Florida, who right, who is suggesting that perhaps he won't vote for Tony Blinken as Secretary of State. But we've already heard from people like Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, senator from Alaska, who said that they believe that presidents should actually get the people who they want to lead and advise them. And as long as they believe that they are qualified for these roles, they should actually, the president should have the team that he wishes. And so I think we will see this cabinet, based on what we've seen so far, get through the confirmation process. And there still will be some challenges on Biden's left flank in terms of progressives who, for whatever reason, Julian, I cannot understand this. They seem to believe that it is because of progressives that Joe Biden got elected, and therefore they believe they should have a hand in picking his cabinet. Now, so far, they have been happy with the picks. We have been told that there has been some pushback from members of Congress. Some CBC members are concerned about Michelle Flournoy because of her ties to defense companies. So many would like to see someone who runs the Pentagon that has not sat on the board of many of these defense contractors and has such close ties with them. So that will be something that, of course, he will have to navigate. But look, we're talking about 4,000 appointments that the president will have to make. There always going to be some pushback somewhere, some fires that the president is going to have to put out. There's talk that perhaps Rahm Emanuel could take a role in this administration. Progressives are deeply unhappy and concerned about that. But right now, what we're seeing is Joe Biden is putting together a team that I think will bring stability and also will show to the rest of the world that not only is America back, as Joe Biden said in his announcement when unveiling his national security team, but also you're going to see the United States lead on a number of fronts, ranging from trade to being front and center at organizations like the United Nations, NATO, and other key entities around the globe.
No, absolutely, and this is a good thing. In fact, we're hearing word that he is getting congratulations from a lot of world leaders. Now, of course, I don't think we've heard anything yet from Putin, but we're not surprised about that, between the connection between him and Donald Trump. No matter what Trump says or his supporters, there is a connection there. But overall now, I think there's a sigh of relief from a lot of people around the world, and not just around the world, leaders around the world, also here in the United States, even quietly amongst, I think, a number of Republicans now who may not say it publicly, but they're saying, wow, whew, this is over. Ding dong, the witch is dead. And we move forward now and to a new light. So what we're witnessing now as we move forward here is a president-elect and a vice president elect who face a multitude of challenges, perhaps more so, far challenging than Obama faced when he became president-elect, because of course we have this pandemic that still has to be dealt with, and that will determine a lot when it comes to where this economy goes, how fast it will move. You know, Donald Trump came out recently, I think it was yesterday, talking about the Dow going up to 30,000 points. I'm just wondering if some of that has to do with the fact that he's no longer going to be in office. Of course, he's trying to take credit for everything, but things are starting to change. The question is, how restless will Americans be? Are they willing to go along for the long haul in this fight to bring back America to where we should be economically? We've got a debt that's in the trillions of dollars. Do you think Americans have the stomach for the fight, Eric?
Well, I mean, that's a question that the Biden administration is going to have to answer. But look, I think what is going to be expected of this administration is, Biden is going to have to, he's going to have to throw some deep balls, which means he's going to have to look to make some structural changes. Because when you look at the pandemic was bad, but the pandemic certainly underscored and highlighted some of the vulnerabilities, not only to the United States, but to many of America's most vulnerable communities. And I'm talking specifically about Black and brown communities. And so what we're going to have to see is not simply just let's get past this, but there's going to have to be some serious thought put to how do we address historic systemic challenges confronting not just all of America. And I think one of the problems, because people look at the team that Biden has put together, and they're saying this is a third Obama term. But look, Obama shied away from dealing with many of the structural problems facing Americans, specifically Black Americans and other communities. We saw how he deported so many brown people when coming into office. He shied away from trying to tackle issues that were specifically hitting the African-American community, namely the economy when it was so bad. Joe Biden is going to have to tackle these issues, and he's going to have to tackle them head on in terms of the deep structural problems. So it's not just about let's get a vaccine and get back to normal, but let's get a vaccine and let's address these problems head on. And I think Biden recognizes, more importantly, that it was the Black community who stood with him, who lifted him up. And so he recognizes, I think, that he's going to have to deliver for the African-American community. But also, I think, in naming Mayorkas to head the Homeland Security Department, I think he's also signaling to the Latino community that he's going to address this. And he's already said he's going to address the issues of immigration. And so I think we're going to see some of these structural problems dealt with. They've got to be serious, and they got to be willing to roll up their sleeves, because this is going to be hard, and there's going to be pushback as a result.
Right. I think he has the team to do it so far. So it looks, and with Alejandro and Mayorkas was also good too. And what he said, his family came, escaped Cuba to escape communism, socialism, and those kinds of things. And hopefully that will shut up those Cubans down there, because my wife is Cuban. She was with those Cubans down there in Miami.
Hey, you better watch your mouth, man. I want you to have some dinner tonight.
No. She's good. No. She's good with it because, basically the folks, and I just got to say it like it is. Okay. The Cubans down there in Miami were the white Cubans that had a lot of money and businessmen and stuff that fled. My wife is a black Cuban, 100% dark chocolate. And, she has a different opinion on things. I mean, there are a whole lot of Cubans down there. I mean, a lot of people got to remember that most Cubans don't look like Ricky Ricardo. 70 to 80% of Cubans are black. You never see that. So when she speaks Spanish, you must be Dominican Republic. No, I'm from Cuba. Oh, yeah. So my point is, look, I'm glad with Alejandro Mayorkas. Oh, I said that so good. That just rolled off my mouth. I'm learning. That's a great pick. Listen, quickly, let's move forward because I know you got to go. And I just have a couple of things to say as we close. The road forward now. So where are we now? It's this January 5th, we know, and that's something we can talk about some other time, the Senate seats, the runoffs in Georgia. But in terms of the Electoral College, I think they actually vote December 14th, and there's something that happens, I think, prior to that. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, well, all of the states will have to ratify by the 3rd of December. The Electoral College meets and they vote on the 14th, and then it goes to the Congress on January 3rd, and they'll have to ratify by January 6th. But already we've seen states like Michigan and Pennsylvania that have already certified the election. So this is a process that now is just pretty much pro forma, so it will move forward. Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th.
There's one thing I didn't think about just until now. We're talking about the inauguration on January 20th, and of course now we're talking about everybody being politically correct, social distancing, and all that stuff. How are they going to do this? This is going to be very interesting. People are gathering down there in the Capitol, and somebody's going to mention something about this. They talked about Trump rallies. I'm curious to see how they're going to do this.
Well, Biden has been very, very conservative in terms of his events. And so I do believe we will see a much, much, much scaled down inauguration in Washington as a result, because the Biden team has certainly been strictly adhering to CDC guidelines, and I suspect we will continue to see them do that.
One thing,
but also we have to keep in mind, Julian, there is expected to be a vaccine that could be distributed as early as December. So that's something to keep in mind too. But I do believe it's going to be I do believe we'll see a much scaled down affair than what we're used to seeing.
Well, see, I'm only upset about one thing, Eric. See, I didn't get an invitation to any balls. I mean, I was invited and I went to the Clinton ball. When he became president, I have it all on a plaque. I was there. I had my cigar outside, my tuxedo and everything. Clinton got up there and played the sax. I didn't get any invitations from Joe Biden. So, at some point, he and I are going to have a little talk about this if there's any ball. Because, I would have brought a bucket of pig feet up to that thing.
Oh, Lord.
With all my barbecue sauce, I'm telling you. But anyway, look, this all looks good. A lot to talk about, I'm sure. There'll be some more tricks and turns by Trump, or at least, some comedy that we can talk about up until January 20th. But we dodged the bullet. It looks like we've seen democracy working, as you had mentioned, which is a good thing. So, look, buddy, have a great day. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks so much, Julian. You too, buddy.
All right. Well, we've got Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe, not even moving kind of slow, going into the White House. I just love it. And, with the picks, they seem really good. I just don't see how there's going to be much opposition. And look, we've got some other high-profile positions that have to be filled. We'll see. But, I hope Uncle Joe adheres to that old policy. There's this old song for some of you that are old enough to remember by BT Express called Do It Till You're Satisfied. And I hope Uncle Joe does it till he is satisfied. And I mean satisfied with a capital S. And at the same token, too, making sure that he holds to his promise to deal with the African Americans who put him in office. It wasn't the progressives. It was the African American vote. If you notice during the course of this challenge here, every place that Trump challenged were in areas where they were all basically solidly blue and in black areas. That's the issue. So he owes us. But I want to say something else before we close. A good friend of mine said something, and I'm sure he got it from someplace else. It says, a society is judged by how we treat our most disadvantaged. This is so true. The one group of people that I hope also get attention are the American Indians. We've suffered, but these folks on these reservations have faced untold suffering. And their voices have largely been silent on many issues, on their land, on sacred grounds, pipe drilling going through, diseases, all sorts of things. I pray for our Native Americans. I really do. They need help. They need attention. They need recognition. And they need to be lifted up. Let's see how all this unfolds. Things are looking good. I do believe that eventually those who oppose Joe Biden, who are the ever-Trumpers, I think a good percentage of them will come around. I'm hearing that from some of my friends around the country. It's going to be a long road, but we must remain persistent. We must persevere. And Uncle Joe has got to do it till he's satisfied. We'll see you next week.